Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin with this morning's headlines. Another accused dies under mysterious circumstances in the Vyapam scam in Madhya Pradesh. Opposition calls it a cover-up. Gujarat government takes stock of flood situation in the state. Death toll at 70. Bodies of 9 Asiatic lions also washed away by the flood waters. Greece introduces capital controls as government forces banks to shut down for a week. Talks on Iran's nuclear program set to go on beyond Tuesday's formal deadline as Iran and world leaders meet in Vienna. And it's Wimbledon time for tennis. All eyes on top seed Serena Williams and Novak Djokovic at the All England Club. Our top focus on the bulletin this morning. Narendra Singh Tomar, a veterinary doctor accused in the high-profile Madhya Pradesh Professional Examination Board scam, died under mysterious circumstances on Saturday night. 23 others linked to the scandal, also known as Vyapam scam, have died under similar circumstances so far. A magisterial probe has been ordered to find the cause of Tomar's death, but the opposition, the Congress, is far from satisfied. Here's a report.
Another accused in the Vyapam employment scam died on Sunday under mysterious circumstances in a prison in Madhya Pradesh. Narendra Singh Tomar's death added another murky chapter to the scandal where several other accused and witnesses have also died. The Vyapam scam relates to admissions in medical and engineering colleges during the period 2008 to 2010, in which many government employees were brought under the scanner for getting selected through unfair means. The opposition Congress has accused the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party of a cover-up.
Unfortunately, the Chief Minister, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, is trying to cover up.
Digvijay Singh had earlier said that the scam was hatched by Chauhan himself so that his friends and family could benefit and land government jobs through unfair means. However, the BJP has dismissed the matter as a case of suicide.
आज मुझे पता लगा कि नरेंद्र तोमर ने सुसाइड किया है पुलिस उसकी जांच कर रही है
The police say Tomar complained of a chest pain and was admitted to hospital.
और रात में से चेस्ट में पेन हुआ और इसे हम लोग एम्बाई लेके आए और एम्बाई में सीएमओ साहब को दिखाया उसके बाद थोड़ी देर बाद इसकी मौत हो गई
The recruitment scam had reportedly involved manipulation in the selection process for government jobs conducted by the Madhya Pradesh Professional Examination Board. The written examination was conducted in September last year and more than 50,000 candidates had appeared for nearly 4,025 seats in the state. As many as 24 accused in the scam, including Tomar and witnesses, have died so far under mysterious conditions in the scandal. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, joining me for a chat this morning to talk about this is Rashid Kidwai, Associate Editor of The Telegraph. Good morning, Rashid. Thank you for joining me on the program. You know, as far as this particular issue is concerned, it's not just one death or two deaths or three deaths. It is 24 deaths under mysterious circumstances. Now, what is the scam all about and how far has the case really proceeded?
There are several dimensions to the entire thing. First of all, what we call it is scam. It's not one scam. There's several scams. There's scam about recruitment in jobs, teachers, and at all layers of it. And I see several, the volume of it we really do not know. Some people say that 1,40,000 jobs were affected by it, in the sense that wrong people were selected. And there was a complete kind of nexus between politicians, bureaucrats, touts, and there's several things are there. And to be fair to the Chief Minister, he did ordered a probe. But subsequently, we have seen that there is so much of, pull and pressure is there. In fact, some of the one should not make observation on courts, but some of the observation by courts have also been very absurd. So, and now there is a very clear attempt of cover-up. Now, if we talk about this mysterious deaths, actually, it's a very serious matter because, somebody dying in road accident, which can happen, it does happen, but it's mysterious because why should, three people who are picked from other three parts of Madhya Pradesh, it's a huge state, and they were traveling in the same car and that car meets with an accident. So that brings an element of, mystery behind it. Somebody is in police custody, is in jail, and a responsible person, we just heard him say that he committed suicide and the chest pain. So one needs to, a magisterial probe will reveal that. How is it possible for, first of all, for somebody inside jail to attempt a suicide? What was the mean of it? How did he do that? And then how is it being, how the doctors are saying it's a heart attack? So there are several, very serious questions are there. I think fundamentally the issue is that it should be investigated by an independent agency, because if ministers or say a governor or several people are under some kind of scanner, then to expect that there will be free and fair probe and the outcome would be good is a wishful thinking.
One aspect of it also is that, there are definitely some really big wigs involved in this particular scam. Because if you look at the kind of details that have emerged, they're very sketchy. I mean, there is no one who's giving us any detailed information as to how it has happened or how they went about doing this. Because, as I said earlier as well, it's very sketchy, the details. So it just points to one thing, maybe some big names are involved and they are trying to cover up everything.
Yeah, big names are certainly there, but I'll tell you the magnitude of it is extremely big. What was happening was that, as you know, that in every state there is a recruitment and assessment board, a professional examination board. Now here, there was a whole connivance was there between those who were conducting examination. There were huge, large number of touts were there who were telling people, so to say, those who were appearing for examination, and they were desperate, they were willing to part with money, which is a criminal activity. Now, here we say that 1,800 people have been arrested. Now, most of them have been arrested are those in the sense that who gave money.
Yes.
But, those people who were engineering it, those who had enacted this huge scam, and it's very innovative because you have, I don't want to get into the details of it, but at every level, from let's say from clerical level to the top level, everyone had involvement. The political classes obviously was also there.
Yes.
But it's not only about political class, it's about various, at all layers of
Yes,
of
there are
governance.
several layers to it, and all these layers need to be breached. Thank you so much, Rashid Kidwai, for joining us on the program this morning and putting things into perspective for us. We'll see how that case proceeds and we'll keep a close eye on it. Moving on now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged the nation to enroll in several welfare schemes launched by the government in recent months. Voicing concern over the declining sex ratio in the 9th edition of his radio program Mann Ki Baat, the Prime Minister pitched for a campaign to save girls through the social media. Here's more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi focused on women in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday. Raising concern over declining sex ratio, he urged people to enroll in 2 insurance schemes launched by the government. The government's flagship life insurance scheme offers renewable 1-year life cover of 2 lakh rupees for a premium of 330 rupees. The accident insurance scheme provides coverage of 2 lakh rupees for a premium of 12 rupees per annum.
हमारे घर में खाना पकाने वाली कोई बहन हो या बर्तन साफ करने वाली बहन हो या हमारे खेत में मजदूर करने वाली कोई बहन हो या हमारे परिवार में अपनी सारी बहनें हो, क्या रक्षाबंधन के पवित्र त्योहार को ध्यान में रखते हुए हम 12 रुपये वाली या 330 रुपये वाली जन सुरक्षा योजनाएं जीवन भर के लिए अपनी इन बहनों को गिफ्ट दे सकते हैं?
Appreciating the initiative and pitching for a campaign to save the girl child, Modi asked all fathers to send their selfies with their daughters to him. In this context, he also mentioned the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao initiative. In January, the scheme was launched in Haryana, where sex ratio figures are worrisome, according to the Prime Minister.
हरियाणा का एक छोटे से गांव का सरपंच बेटी बचाओ अभियान को इस प्रकार का मोड़ दे, तब मन को बहुत आनंद होता है और एक नई आशा जगती है. इसलिए मैं अपनी प्रसन्नता तो व्यक्त करता हूं, लेकिन इस घटना से मुझे प्रेरणा भी मिली है और इसलिए मैं भी आपसे आग्रह करता हूं कि आप भी अपनी बेटी के साथ सेल्फी विथ डॉटर, अपनी बेटी के साथ सेल्फी निकाल करके #selfie with daughter जरूर पोस्ट कीजिए.
The Prime Minister also referred to the 3 social security schemes launched recently, which included Atal Pension Yojana and an insurance scheme for the poor. To take the initiative forward, he suggested that before the Raksha Bandhan celebrations this year, these policies should be gifted to as many women as possible. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a look now at what else is slated for the day in our segment, The Day Ahead. Delhi High Court will hear the case against appointment of ACB Chief Mukesh Kumar Meena. The Aam Aadmi Party-led Delhi government on Saturday had moved the High Court against the appointment of Joint Commissioner of Police Mukesh Kumar Meena as the Chief of the Anti-Corruption Branch. The Delhi government had appointed S.S. Yadav as the ACB Chief, while the LG had appointed Mr. Meena. A Delhi court is likely to pronounce its order on framing of charges in the IPL 6 spot fixing case. Suspended cricketers S. Srishant, Ajit Chandila, Ankit Chavan and underworld don Dawood Ibrahim and his aide Chota Shakil are accused in the case. A special cell of the Delhi police had named 42 accused in the case. President Pranab Mukherjee will visit Rashtrapati Nilayam in Secunderabad for a 10-day southern sojourn. During his sojourn, he will visit Tirupati and Andhra Pradesh on July 1st. The President will also inaugurate a Nakshatra Vatika at Rashtrapati Nilayam on July 6th. The sojourn will end on July 8th. The rescheduled budget session of the Kerala Assembly will start from today. The session, which was rescheduled in the wake of the June 26th Aruvikara pie poll, is expected to be a stormy one, with the opposition gearing up to corner the government over the vigilance decision not to prosecute Finance Minister K.M. Mani in the bar bride scam. The Aam Aadmi Party will hold a protest march today demanding removal of External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje and HRD Minister Smriti Irani. The protest march will take place from Jantar Mantar to Parliament. The party says that the protest is against the centre's inaction against errant ministers both inside and outside the Assembly. Well, it's time now for a quick break, but coming up after that, India and Thailand to sign a double taxation treaty today. That and much more coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Whatever they may say about anything else about Nehru, one thing, imagine in 1958, when India was still poor, we were not in a great shape, he passes the science policy resolution in the parliament. He really believed science will be part of India's development and progress. And science will be part of every human being of India, so that he will be a better citizen, better human being.
There was not a single voice in parliament which opposed any part of that scientific policy resolution.
People have tried to rewrite it. They cannot improve on the language. I think it's a fantastic resolution, and I think we should still do that.
Watch Eureka with eminent scientist Professor C.N.R. Rao only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, India and Thailand will sign a double taxation treaty and an MOU for setting up an Ayurveda chair in one of the Thai universities today, as External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj co-chairs the India-Thailand Joint Commission meeting. Swaraj met Indian business leaders and held interactions with academicians. She will have an audience with Princess Mahachakri Srindorn, a scholar of Sanskrit and royal patron of the World Sanskrit Conference. Swaraj will also call on the Thai political leadership. She will meet Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Thai government, General Thanasak Patima Pragon. Meanwhile, the Gujarat government took stock of the flood situation in the state on Sunday. 70 people have died in the downpour. The Asiatic lion population also took a hit, with 9 bodies being recovered.
Incessant rainfall in Gujarat is causing fears of an outbreak of an epidemic. With nearly 70 deaths reported in the state so far, the government fears an outbreak. Apart from ensuring that a disease scare is kept under control, the state government is also faced with the challenge of restoring power supply and roads. Amreli is the worst hit in the state. Reports of bodies of 9 Asiatic lions being found in the floodwaters has also created panic here.
अभी शेर की डेड बॉडी 7-8 मिली है अभी कितना मिले वो मुश्किल जानना मुश्किल है।
इसके लिए हमारा पूरा स्टाफ अभी जो बरसात हुई है उसमें पूरा स्टाफ लगा हुआ है, पूरे एरिया का स्कैनिंग कर रहा है और कितनी जान माल का नुकसान हुआ है उसका जायजा लेने के लिए पूरी माहिती तैयार कर रहा है।
The state government took stock of the situation in rain-hit areas on Sunday. It also announced it will compensate those who have lost their livestock in the floods. In Uttarakhand, a special team deputed by the Punjab government began evacuation of pilgrims stranded at Gobind Ghat and Gobind Dham due to heavy rains. The bridge between the Gobind Ghat and Gobind Dham, which had been washed away due to heavy rains, has been repaired by the local army and pilgrims have been moved to safer locations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a look now at what else is making news across the country in our segment Nationwide. Prime Minister Narendra Modi cancelled his visit to his parliamentary constituency Varanasi because of heavy rainfall. Prime Minister was scheduled to address a gathering and launch a host of schemes worth 2,000 crore rupees on Sunday. But heavy downpour led to waterlogging in the ground, leading to cancellation of the event. Union Home Secretary L.C. Goyal reviewed the security in Jammu and Kashmir with a special focus on the arrangements made by the 59-day annual Amarnath Yatra. Goyal, who arrived in Jammu and Kashmir on a 2-day visit yesterday, took the review during a meeting with the top brass of all security agencies, including the police, army and the civil administration. The Amarnath Yatra begins on July 2nd. The FTII authorities received a communication from the Information and Broadcasting Ministry giving an appointment this week to the striking students to discuss their demand for removal of TV actor Gajendra Chauhan from the post of chairman. The tentative date suggested for a dialogue is July 3rd. The student strike will enter the 18th day today. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee ordered a CID probe into the alleged question paper leak in the Industrial Training Institute's entrance examination. The examination was to take place on Sunday but was cancelled and deferred to July 5th. A 3-member committee has been formed to probe the matter and will submit its report within a week. A total of 1.33 lakh candidates had applied for the examination. Well, it's time now for another quick break, but coming up, drastic measures taken by Greece as it stares at a Eurozone exit. That and other international news on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, a decision by the European Central Bank to cap the amount of emergency funding has left Athens with little choice but to introduce capital controls. The Greek government has been forced to shut banks till after the referendum on the 5th of July on the Cash for Reforms deal. Scores of people lined up outside cash machines highlighted the scale of the disaster.
The lines outside Greek bank ATMs grew longer on Monday morning after the Greek government took drastic measures to check the growing strains on its crippled financial system. After the European Central Bank's decision to not increase emergency funding to Greek banks, Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras announced the closure of banks and imposed capital controls. The banks are expected to be closed all next week with a daily limit on cash withdrawals. Capital controls are likely to last for many months at least, also bringing to fore the prospect of Greece being forced out of the Eurozone.
Οι καταθέσεις των πολιτών στις ελληνικές τράπεζες είναι απολύτως διασφαλισμένες. Το ίδιο διασφαλισμένη είναι και η καταβολή των μισθών και των συντάξεων. Οι όποιες δυσκολίες εμφανιστούν πρέπει να αντιμετωπιστούν.
The Greek cabinet met shortly after the decision. Greece described the creditors' terms as unviable and asked for an extension of the deadline. The request was turned down by the EU leaders, but they did persuade Greece to agree to the deal to save it from bankruptcy. The decision now rests with the public that will vote in a referendum on 5th of July whether to accept the reforms proposed by international creditors for receiving fresh bailout funds.
Η επικράτηση του όχι θα δώσει σίγουρα ένα καλό μήνυμα στους απ' έξω ποια είναι η επιθυμία του ελληνικού λαού και το κυριότερο θα συσπυρώσει όλες αυτές τις δυνάμεις οι οποίες δώσαν τα τελευταία πέντε χρόνια μάχες για να μην περάσουν τα μέτρα.
Greece is due to make a 1.6 billion euro payment to the IMF on Tuesday, the same day that its current bailout expires. With the latest developments, a Greek default on its debt payment and a possible exit from the Eurozone appears in plain sight. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
While talks on Iran's nuclear program are set to go on beyond Tuesday's formal deadline as Iran and world leaders meet in Vienna, with several sticking points remaining over the nuclear deal, the leaders say reaching a final agreement will be tough but not impossible.
In the final phase of the Iran nuclear talks in Vienna, Iran, the US and EU leaders intensified efforts to reach an accord before the self-imposed deadline ends. The talks are likely to stretch by a few days as major disputes linger. But EU leaders have ruled out any long-term extension of the deadline, saying postponement of the deal is not an option.
As I said this morning, we stick to the deadline of the 30th, ready to interpret it in a flexible way, as we did it already in Lausanne. It was needed to have a couple of days more. That is not the end of the words, but it is very clear that the deadline is going to stay end of June, beginning of July. We're going to finalize it, hopefully, in the coming days.
The P5+1 leaders have set themselves a June 30th deadline to reach an agreement over granting sanctions relief to Iran in exchange for curtailing its nuclear activities. But there are major disagreements over monitoring mechanisms on Tehran's activities, as well as the timing and pace of the sanctions relief. Some Western diplomats suggest that no meaningful sanctions relief should be granted before any tangible progress is made by Iran.
And I think we all look forward to getting down to the final effort here to see whether or not a deal is possible. I think everybody would like to see an agreement, but we have to work through some difficult issues.
Well, I agree. Maybe not on the issues, but on the fact that we need to work really hard in order to be able to make progress and move forward. We're determined to do everything we can.
The talks are being closely followed by Israel too. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned against stark retreat from red lines set by the world powers. He accused them of approaching a bad deal, which is getting worse by the day.
יומיים לפני פקיעת מועד השיחות להשגת הסכם בין המעצמות לאיראן, כל הדברים הללו נדחקים הצידה, מעלימים עין מכל זה, אף על פי שזה מפורסם באופן רשמי, אבל באופן מעשי. אין שום דרישה לשינוי התנהגותה של איראן, ויש התעלמות מוחלטת.
Securing this historic agreement would end a more than 12-year-long nuclear standoff between Iran and the West and help Tehran's crippled economy. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a quick wrap of all the other international stories this Monday morning. The suspected Islamist militant held over an attack against a French chemical plant has admitted killing his manager to French investigators on Sunday. Yassine Salih told detectives that he had killed Hervé Cornara in a parking area before arriving at the plant in south of Lyon, where he attempted to cause an explosion on Friday. Police found the 54-year-old victim's decapitated body and head framed by Islamic inscriptions at the plant owned by US group Air Products. Venezuela's ruling socialists held primaries on Sunday ahead of December's parliamentary election. They are forecast to lose due to a biting recession and discontent with the late Hugo Chavez's uncharismatic successor. The South American country is suffering shortages of basic goods ranging from spare parts to milk and medicines. Annual inflation possibly in the triple digits and unchecked violent crime. More than 850 passengers had to be evacuated after their Mediterranean cruise ship collided with an oil tanker off the coast of Turkey, leaving a huge dent in its hull. Authorities said that a huge disaster was averted after emergency service quickly responded to reports that the Celestial Crystal and the tanker STI Pimlico had crashed at 1:30 a.m. on Saturday morning in the Dardanelles Strait. Cruise operators said that 2 crew members and a passenger suffered minor injuries. Tunisian investigators said on Sunday that the gunman who killed 38 tourists at a beach near the Tunisian city of Sousse had help in carrying out the attack. Interior Ministry spokesman Mohammed Ali Aroui said authorities were sure that the attacker had accomplices. The government has announced increased security measures after the attack claimed by Islamic State. An unmanned space exploration technologies rocket exploded about 2 minutes after liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida on Sunday, destroying a cargo ship bound for the International Space Station. The 208-foot-tall rocket was the company's 19th Falcon 9 launch since its 2010 debut, including 6 previous cargo runs for NASA under a 15-flight contract worth more than $2 billion. The cause of the accident was not known immediately. Finally, some sports news now. Tennis returns to its most famous site today, with Wimbledon set to get underway at the All England Club. All eyes are on Serena Williams, who is halfway through a calendar slam, the first since Steffi Graf in 1988. In the men's singles, Rafael Nadal will be looking forward to turn his season around, while defending champion Novak Djokovic is the top favourite this year. Here's a report.
Top seeds Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams will take the spotlight when Wimbledon gets underway today. Serena Williams is favourite to complete a year of Grand Slams in the pursuit of her 6th Wimbledon title. A 7th title will take her career Grand Slam titles to 21, just 1 behind Steffi Graf and 3 short of Margaret Court's all-time record. If she manages to win the title in the US Open in August, she would be the first tennis player to complete a calendar year slam for the first time in 27 years.
It doesn't make it feel any different, which I think is a good thing because I don't feel any pressure to win all 4, and I've been saying that, but I really don't feel that pressure. I mean, maybe if I were to happen to win here, then maybe I might start feeling it after that.
One of Williams' main rivals for the title will be Maria Sharapova, who famously beat the American in the final as a 17-year-old back in 2004. The Russian wasn't at her best in Paris at the French Open, blaming illness for her form and 4th-round exit.
Absolutely. She's certainly the player to beat, and with all the confidence in the world, having won the last 3 majors, not just these 2 in this year. I think those results speak for herself, and she's certainly the one to beat.
In the men's section, it could be a 4-way battle between defending champion Novak Djokovic, Swiss great Roger Federer, the former Wimbledon champions Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray. After a disastrous season so far, Nadal is looking forward to get back to his winning ways at the All England Club.
Losing or winning doesn't matter, but it's good to be healthy on a surf race that the second surf race, second most important surf race in my career, without any doubt.
The Swiss great Roger Federer says he is in perfect condition to win Wimbledon for a record 8th time, as the Swiss great bids to avenge last year's heartbreaking final defeat.
It's been the best preparation I've ever had for Wimbledon, for obvious reasons, because we have a week more on grass. But I'm sure that I'm not the only one saying that this year. I'm sure everybody will say the same.
However, top seed Djokovic remains the favourite. He hopes to bounce back from his disappointing defeat at the French Open this year.
Last couple of years I haven't been playing any lead-up tournament to Wimbledon, and I still managed to play finals 2 years ago and to win the title last year, even though my rivals like Murray, Federer, Nadal have been winning grass court tournaments in the previous years as well, leading up to Wimbledon. So it's not of my concern, honestly. I just want to get myself in a best possible shape.
With the record prize fund of £26.7 million on offer and nearly 500,000 live spectators, the 13 days of action is perhaps the best tennis could offer. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's it on this edition of The Breakfast News. Have a nice day.